So we're focusing on metta, and I wanted to begin with a quote by Christina Feldman from her wonderful book, Boundless Heart. And it's a little bit long, so bear with me, but I think it really is going to help us. Uh, so she says, it is important to remind ourselves that metta is not a state or an emotion separate and apart from more difficult or afflictive states and emotions. It is an attitudinal commitment and way of being cultivated within all states, particularly in the midst of aversion and patterns of abandonment. Metta teaches us a way of being present with all states, all emotions, with an attitude of befriending. The tendency of aversion is to separate ourselves from the afflictive and imagine a way of being in some future moment where affliction has ended, allowing some more idealized state of kindness to emerge. To see metta as an idealized state and apart from the sorrow and sadness of the moment would inevitably be a trigger for a renewed surge of feelings of failure and inadequacy. The pathway of metta is a present moment recollection, befriending our sadness and sorrow, our judgmental thoughts, our feelings of failure and unworthiness. We are no longer waiting for affliction to disappear so that kindness can then emerge. With metta, we learn to liberate the moment from the torturous grip of ill will and to make befriending our home. So much that she says in that, really helpful, definitely not easy, and feels true, definitely. Oh, it's Christina Feldman. Yep. Parts of me can sometimes think like I'm going to get to some separate idealized state of just kindness, even though I know that metta actually means being present with, alongside every experience, every thought, every moment, every interaction. But we want to notice when we're kind of thinking of it as something separate, something idealized, and how that's often born out of aversion to how life actually is or how we actually are. And this quote, it reminds me also how much metta is relational, right? How is the heart relating to what's here? Because if it's relational, then anything can arise. And I have a chance of relating to it with some friendliness. And that feels hopeful to me because, of course, we can't control what shows up within or around us, but we can bring attention to how we want to meet that. And what she says also reminds me that metta is unconditional, right? It's not that we have to get rid of the jumble of pain and confusion and angst, but pointing to the pervasiveness of that ill will and aversion feels important, right? And it may not be so, but I just want to acknowledge that some folks here may be thinking, well, I don't do that. Like, I'm not super aversive, but I just want to invite us to notice how often when something arises or happens internally or externally, on or off the cushion, how quickly we want it to stop, or we want to get rid of it, or we think something else should be happening. We start trying to figure out how to make it change. And so this idea of making befriending our home feels really different from that. And I wanted to kind of share a little bit about how I'm working with this in relation to anxiety. Um, I'm stepping into a new role in one area of my professional life where I'll have a bit more leadership and more visibility. And I've definitely been noticing more anxiety kind of at the edges of everything. And some of that sure is related to all that's happening in the world and in the US, but I can tell that a lot of it is around this role change. And there's a lot of kind of fear and anticipation and insecurity around being seen as lacking or having my struggles seen by others, and if that might wind up letting people down or even causing harm. And when I kind of hear it, the thoughts and the feeling in the body, it really is trying to get me to some idealized state where I'm only good at things, where I don't make mistakes, I get it right all the time. I'm only seen in a positive light. And kind of really believing that I should be there and can get there versus recognizing the reality of how this is going to be a learning curve. And then on top of that, and maybe some folks can relate, there's this ill will and aversion toward the anxiety itself. Just like really not liking and judging the anxiety, and in many ways thinking of it as my anxiety, right? And identifying with it and not wanting it to be me. Just that, like, thinking of myself not getting things right. It's really, really hard in those moments to experience myself as worthy of kindness. And so again, right, Christina Feldman said the tendency of aversion is to separate ourselves from the afflictive. And that's really what's happening here. And we can hear how conditional it is. And I hope also you can hear and feel the heartbreak in it, which I think we're really meant to see and feel in the Brahmavihara practices. Just the heartache and heartbreak of aversion and ill will, and the delusion of self-hatred and shame. And so, what would it be like, of course, in moments maybe to lean into relating to the person I actually am with just a little more, of course, you feel this way. It's scary to be doing something new, something challenging in front of others. Inviting just the beginning of that different heart orientation to myself and to what's showing up. And it's funny, I was talking about this talk with Lori, and she asked me, like, hey, are you going to say a little more about what helps and how you get there and how you get to Metta? And I just wanted to share that because it's so funny, right? That I was like, oh, like, not just the struggle, because man, this is hard. But it also really helped me realize that actually, like somehow just being able to see when I'm in aversion and in ill will, just that is so helpful. It's so helpful. I can laugh a little, it softens the edges. There's an awareness that's just alongside the experience, that little space that maybe has some room for metta. And so I just want to acknowledge that the huge importance of just recognizing what's happening can create a little bit of space for metta. And additionally, another kind of way of remembering that is practicing with some metta phrases. And I've shared these. These are offered by Michelle McDonald. May I be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May I be happy and peaceful, strong and healthy. May I experience ease of well-being. May I feel the goodness of caring for myself. Just helps me remember that it's possible, that that kind of relationship actually exists. And again, not using those phrases to force myself into that idealized place, but just that invitation, orienting to the vicinity of metta. Mm. I think about also Joseph Goldstein. He teaches often about this moment. He worked with fear for so long in his practice. And this moment that was so powerful for him when he was able to really feel in his heart, if this fear is here for the rest of my life, it's okay. And to me, that's metta, right? And what would it be like for me to just hold, hey, if this insecurity and these anxieties are here for the rest of my life, it's okay. I'm still worthy of kindness. I laugh, right? But because it's hard. And I also, it's been helpful in moments also to remember and feel into the universality of vulnerability. Just remembering and caring for vulnerability in all forms. All of us vulnerable to the 8 worldly winds, right? For me right now, praise and blame, or gain and loss. We're all vulnerable to getting things wrong, to tripping and falling physically or emotionally, to illness and pain and death, to rejection and fear and loneliness. It's helpful just in moments to hold, like, oh, right, this is vulnerability and that's normal. It's true. It's part of life. Everyone experiences it. Maybe I can just watch how the mind thinks I can get to a place where I'm invulnerable. And then just remembering to feel my way into this. It really can't be cognitive. It's not a cognitive shift, but a relational shift in the heart, in the moment, just moment to moment of meeting ourselves again and again to see if metta can kind of just come alongside within and around. So just coming back to some of what she said, that metta is not a state or an emotion separate and apart from more difficult or afflictive states and emotions. We are no longer waiting for affliction to disappear so that kindness can then emerge. With metta, we learn to liberate the moment from the torturous grip of ill will and to make befriending our home. So thanks for listening, for being with, for joining. So let's take a few moments, or as long as it takes, really, uh, just to open up the body and settle into the practice. To transition if you need, you can bring the attention a little bit more to the breath. Maybe stretching, moving. You're welcome to stand and shake out if that helps. Just maybe moving the places in your body that tend to get tight or stuck. The shoulders, the brow, the jaw, belly. Always available in any moment to bring a hand to the chest or belly. Just that way of connecting, being willing to make contact with ourselves, these bodies. And just see what might be helpful, what might invite a little more arriving or slowing down. It could be a couple deeper breaths, inhaling and exhaling. Maybe feeling the seat beneath or behind you. That solidity and support that can allow the body to relax a little bit more. And if you'd like, you can bring any phrase in as your anchor today, maybe a metta phrase you already have found to be helpful and supportive, to remind you of this possibility of a relationship of friendliness and care. You could use any or all of these. May I be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be strong and healthy. May I experience ease of well-being. May I feel the goodness of caring for myself. And if it feels better, maybe to offer those phrases to another, to an easy being, maybe in moments to all beings. Noticing as we do this, if there's any pressure to get to something other than what's here. Nothing left out. Thanks, everyone. Really good to be with all of you. And I'm going to just allow you to unmute. Great. So let's just say goodbye. Love to hear your voices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Ciao,
much.
Catherine.
Lovely
Thank you.
talk.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, Catherine.
Thank
Joe.
you.
Well, everyone, peace.
Thank you,
Thank you for being here today, everyone.
Everybody. Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Be well,
You too.
everyone.
You too.
Oh.
Thanks.
Thank you.